Tonight we're beginning with a special report on a subject that needs to be brought out of the shadows. Parents, you'll want to listen up to this. Did you know that ordering a child for sex online can be as easy as ordering a pizza? And the biggest fighter of child sex trafficking says most of those online orders are made on a site that's called Backpage. Now, in the next few minutes, you'll become very familiar with how this website, Backpage, helps sell thousands of children for sex and makes millions of dollars off them. And it's all legal. Deborah Alfarone walked alongside some strong women who are fighting to hold Backpage accountable now, one day at a time. We begin off script tonight with a special assignment unit story.
How were these children sold repeatedly on a website 24/7, on the hour, by the hour? How is this happening in the United States of America?
It doesn't just damage the victim, it damages everything and everybody around it.
This is not hidden in the deep, dark web. Click, and within 15 minutes, you can have a child delivered to your home as easy as ordering a pizza.
That man who purchased her from Backpage beat her, strangled her, raped her, and then cut her throat. If I would have known what was really going on the internet, maybe I could have educated her differently. But unfortunately, she didn't make it.
Yvonne Ambrose's 16-year-old daughter, Desiree, was the light of her life. Ambrose says she was smart, made good grades, wanted to be a physician in the Air Force. One day in November 2016, Desiree disappeared. 4 excruciatingly long weeks later, Yvonne's phone rings.
To have someone call you and say that they found your daughter is a parent's worst nightmare. You pray that they don't get caught up with the wrong people. You keep them in every single activity, after school activity. She was involved in every sport. She was a great student, and they found her.
Changing the law can change the world.
Today, Yvonne and hundreds of moms, survivors, filmmakers, and advocates are going to fight to try and hold Backpage accountable. But first, let's take a quick look at the size of the problem. Every year, 300,000 children are lured into being sold for sex in this country.
This is not a child here or there. This is an epidemic.
The average age, 15. It happens everywhere. More than 70% are sold on Backpage. And a U.S. Senate subcommittee report projects Backpage will make as much as $250 million next year. But how is this legal?
It's legal because Backpage is protected by a 20-year-old law called the Communications Decency Act. All websites are, even ours. It means that Backpage can't be held liable, nor can we for anything that other people post on it, like, let's say, a comment, a picture, or even an ad to sell children for sex. In this example, Backpage isn't liable for the ads on their site that sell children for sex because they didn't place the ads, a third-party pimp did. They just gave that person a platform and they make millions off of it. So lawsuits trying to make Backpage pay get dismissed. That's why these women and men, including Yvonne Ambrose, are on Capitol Hill to try and push a bill to change that. If it passes, it would make Backpage liable for knowingly, and that's the key word there, knowingly help to sell children online for sex. And then people like Yvonne Ambrose could possibly sue them for restitution and win.
Free speech advocates say that could open the door a crack for people to sue all sorts of websites for things other people post.
I, for one, as an advocate for free speech issues and for small startups, I get it.
Sasha Moss is a lawyer with R Street Institute, a think tank that believes in limited government.
Creating new laws with stronger burdens isn't necessarily the way to do it when we already have a toolbox full of ways prosecutors can get at the bad guy.
This crowd will soon mobilize and hit the offices of senators and congressmen and women one by one.
They're being sold, much like property might be sold.
This is Senator Rob Portman, a Republican from Ohio. He says Backpage is more devious than you might think. He says they don't just sit by and collect money. He says they work with pimps to create ads that won't tip off the cops that the girl or boy is underage.
When someone would send an ad in saying, you know, cheerleader or schoolgirl, you know, they would go to the person purchasing the ad and said, you need to take that word out, but still place your ad with us.
Because they make money off of it.
Because they make money off of it.
We reached out to Backpage to check on all of this. We emailed, we called, and we didn't hear back. A quick note, fighting Backpage, it's nothing new. Founders Michael Lacey and Jim Larkin, along with Backpage CEO Carl Ferrer, were arrested in California in 2016 for conspiracy to commit pimping and other charges. The case was dismissed 2 months later. Lacey and Larkin issued a statement that said, in part, as the federal courts have said time and again, there would be no internet if websites were liable for user content they neither created nor posted. And back to this fight.
Yvonne didn't have that opportunity.
In the front row, Kubicki pride, her emotions so raw it might overflow any second. Unlike Yvonne Ambrose, Kubicki still has her daughter, but just barely. Her daughter, who wants us to call her M.A., was sold on Backpage in 2009, and Kubicki bought her back. Ever since, it's been a struggle to keep her home and keep her safe.
I wouldn't care what she ever did or what was ever done to her. There is nothing that she could ever do that would make me feel any less love for her. I love her unconditionally, and I will fight to the end of the earth for my kids.
Go in, introduce yourself, explain that we're anti-trafficking advocates from organizations from across the nation.
I don't know.
You're fighting this for a long time.
8 years.
8 years.
8 years.
You're never going to give up.
No, I'm not going to give up. Like, I made a promise to my daughter that, you know, I was going to keep fighting until the laws in the United States were changed, because there's no reason kids should be sold for sex here.
Kubicki has a meeting scheduled with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. When we get there, he's not there. She leaves a packet.
And I thank you so much for listening to me today. You have to understand, at 13 years old, my kid was taken and tied down and given drugs. Given a lot of drugs, like interventions. She's been beaten, and she's had so much done to her. I don't know how she will ever recover. The trail of damage and tears, heartbreak, and lives is what says that this is wrong. And America, our Senate, our House, they have to see things our way so that we can get this law changed, so that they deserve a chance.
As the minutes tick past, this scene plays out at different offices with different faces throughout the House and Senate. Yvonne Ambrose says 24 hours in Washington can effect change.
That's why I came to DC. I came because they probably look at the news the same way I used to, as, oh, it just happens in other countries. But no, this wasn't just like in my backyard. It came to my home. This ruined me.
Yvonne says there's no other way she would have wanted to spend this day fighting for Desiree.
Hour by hour, not even day by day. We're still hour by hour. What's next? I'm gonna continue to fight. She's gone now. She doesn't have a voice. She can't fight anymore. As a mother, I'm gonna fight for her. I'm gonna fight every day until I take my last breath.
Bruce, it's so tough to hear those moms talk. Her daughter murdered. I do want to tell you this bill is really important, obviously. Yeah. It's trending right now on social media, on Twitter, and there's actually, it's got a unique name, okay? And just bear with me here. It's called FOSTA SESTA, okay? And these advocates want you to call your representative and ask them to support it. Of course, you can tweet as well, and you can see SESTA, S-E-S-T-A, is right now trending on Twitter.
But yeah, and call multiple times, too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one call. And this bill will fix this problem.
Well, it's very hard to fix the problem of child sex trafficking, but it will, if it is passed, and it's going to hit the House floor tomorrow, if it hits the Senate, if it's passed, what'll happen is these victims could sue Backpage for restitution. You know, obviously, if you've gone through such trauma like that, you know, you need help.
It makes the operators of this website liable. Okay, yeah. I got it. You know, you watch something like this, Deborah, you know, and you say to yourself, how can people do this to other people? It had to,
people out there.
Yeah, it had to have been tough for you.
I like getting all choked up again.
I know you. I know the kind of stuff you cover, and this is the kind of stuff that you seek out because you know you're trying to correct these things. But and I'm sure you're keeping a relationship with these women.
Absolutely, yeah, I do. I do talk to a lot of these women. I spoke to Mary Mazzio, who's the documentary filmmaker who made I Am Jane Doe, a wildly popular documentary that you can watch on Netflix. Talks about this problem. I talked to Yvonne. I talked to Kubicki. I talked to lots of people in this situation, and you know. Here's the thing, those young girls, they're teenagers. Some of them are as young as 12 even. And they just didn't have a chance. They were vulnerable. And, you know my story. We have real talk.
Right.
You know, troubled childhood. And, you know, there but for the grace of God go, I could have been one of those kids trafficked.
And these guys know how to reach these individuals. They can spot them. They know exactly what to say. They know their vulnerabilities. They know how to get their trust.
Yeah, and they're on Instagram, too. They're trying to be friends with you on Instagram. They're trying to be friends with you on Snapchat. I mean, some of them look like any guy that you'd like, you know, a 16-year-old might want to date.
Right.
You know, you never know. But they do get in there. They get in your insecurities. This is something we've done lots of reporting on. And, you know, you really got to talk to your kids.
And that was such a big number, 300,000 kids that lured into sex trafficking. That is a huge number.
You know what's even more huge? $250 million that Backpage is projected to make in 2019.
Right, and when it comes to money, agreed.
Exactly.
Okay. Good job. I know you're going to stay on it. Keep us posted.
I absolutely will. You'll be hearing about what happens tomorrow for sure.
Okay, back in a minute.